Hello there guys, and welcome back to another car modeling tutorial. And today in this episode what I think we're going to do is fix up the mesh back here, because this absolutely makes me want to retire as a 3D artist, so we'll sort this out. And then I think what we'll probably move on to is to start thinking about some of the trims. So we'll maybe add the trims around where the headlight is, not necessarily the mesh yet, but we'll add the trim inside there. Trim around the windows and such, and then obviously we've got the trim around here too. So I think what we'll do then is we'll make a start around here first. So in the previous episode we merged all the kind of pieces together. Obviously we haven't actually attached them yet, but we've made them all line up, but this looks absolutely horrendous. So what we'll probably do is let's run a couple more lines. Let's get rid of some of this crap in the middle here. We could maybe run a couple of extra lines in here to help us kind of curve this off too. So I think the first thing I'll do, I'm going to select all the edges here. I'll select all these ones in the center, and I'm just going to delete them because we're just going to rerun them all. So we have a line 2 here that we need to worry about. Obviously we only have one that kind of feeds in there. I am going to move this now whilst we don't have any kind of extra geometry kind of to worry about, so I'll bring that there. What we could maybe do as well is bring it in this direction slightly, and this one too. So we've got kind of a cleaner area there, which is fine. I think what we'll do is let's run a line here to here using our multi-cut tool. Just going to hit enter. So it looks quite nice. Maybe bring this down just a little bit more, because obviously we do want to make space for the line that we have up there. Can't disturb that one too much though, because that is a key crease, but that should be okay. We are also going to need to run this line down, but I think it should be okay. Again, I'm going to use the multi-cut tool. I think we should be able to marry those together. Yeah, I think that's looking okay. And then we'll probably bring this, and let's drill this in here. So bring that in there again. I'm just going to make sure we're looking good, and then we know that that curves around, so we can just use that there to bring that around a little bit more. So that's looking much cleaner, which is good. Okay, that's okay. So let's maybe then start to think about some of the details within the car. And so the idea here is that we'll put the trims, the windows and such in. We will think about some of the details within the panels. We'll start disconnecting all the panels and stuff a little bit later. So I've got some reference images here. It's going to be quite tricky, this car, more so than other cars that we've done before, because in our side views and our top views we're not actually able to see the headlights. So we can see that that's all actually within what we have here, so it's going to be kind of tough to line these up. So this is where the reference images are going to be quite important. I can see on the reference images, if we bring this in here, we can see that we do see the shroud around here quite significantly. It looks like it's quite straight across the top, but we do see quite a lot underneath the headlights as it comes around here, and we can see that it cuts in just around that point. Can't really see on the front view here, which is a shame. But what I'm going to do is, based on the reference images that we have, is I'm going to assume that this line that runs along here is roughly about what we already have, maybe a little bit less. So let's draw in a line here. Let's see, in our front view we can see that we don't actually have anything that kind of correlates with what this could be. So let's firstly draw that in. So I'm going to insert an edge loop. looks to be about in line with what we have here. So let's drop something in about there. And of course, once we drop that in, I'm going to make sure that we're following the curvature. Something like that. It looks okay. It does look like this line here isn't really following the curvature too nicely. Let's bring this one too. Something like that. Okay. So that line here is going to kind of work for us. It'll allow us to come across within that portion there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab edge loop again, and I'm going to drop one in roughly maybe about, let's see, I think the top view is what we should really pay, maybe about here, something like that. And then what it looks like is it looks like it runs quite close along the top to the end. It looks like it runs fairly close all the way down and around until it gets to this point here. Okay, so obviously we want to maintain the curvature here, or the angle that we've got. So I'm just going to jump into my modeling toolkit shelf here. Just going to hit transform constraint to edge. It means that we can push this in here without worrying about deforming what's there. So let's take that in, maybe to about here. And then it looks like we just want to kind of bring that the same, something like that. Okay, I think that's looking okay. So what we can do now with this is let's grab those edges again. I'm going to hit Control E, and then on the blue here, I'm just going to pull it in ever so slightly. Let's go something like that. Something like that, that should be okay. Because obviously we're working with a 3D model here, so we do need to exaggerate things a little bit to make sure we get good contrast. And again, once this is smoothed, it'll lose a little bit of that width too. So we'll take that in. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab all of those faces that we've just selected. So I'm just going to click on the first one here, shift and double click on the next one to select all those around there. We can see that they're currently black on this side and grey on that side, so we need to flip the normals. So we can go to mesh display and then hit reverse, so we can see it's grey now on this outside here. We also want this to be a separate element too, so we're going to go to edit mesh and then hit extract. So now we can see that we've got that extra little section inside there here, which is looking good. Let's grab the edges, and I'm only going to grab all of the top edges here. I don't want to double click because it'll end up going everything around. I'm just going to turn that off as well. Oops. Because we don't want to affect any constraints just now. So let's grab all of these here. And I'm going to hit Control E. And on the world, I think, let's see how we go. I'm going to pull on the blue here. Let's pull on the blue, let's take that in. We do want all of these to straighten off. So I'm going to, on the world option, maybe not because that's not looking too good. Let's just take that in for now. Okay, so we're just going to want to maybe take in just about as far as we are up there, because it looks like that's probably where that section is going to lay. We can see in here we're not looking too good in some areas, so let's let's maybe work on that separately. So I'm going to grab the vertices of these points here and just tidy this up, because obviously we don't want to clip through the bumper there. And then we also want to kind of follow the curvature for it as well. One of the main problems with Maya is the extrusions can sometimes get a little bit weird. I'm going to hold down V and snap, and then we'll just pull away. Let's do the same up here, because we do want to try and maintain that similar curve that we already have. Okay. And we'll do the same at the side here as well. Let's hold down V. So just snap into these points on that inner bumper area to make sure that we are following that curve. Now the problem when you do extrude in Maya is it's doing it all relative to the whole location, not necessarily relative to the individual vertices location. So we can bring those back. We're not going to be too worried. Maybe grab all of these and just come in just a little bit there, maybe down. Again, I want to make sure we're still looking good on the perspective side as well. Let's take this one here. I'm going to snap again and then just pull it up ever so slightly. And I think what we'll do with these extra ones is we're just going to do the same. Let's snap it in here. Just pull up. So you can see there, that's looking quite good. So that's the kind of basic trim for that interior segment there. We also have the headlights that we could really think about, but for now let's just kind of work with the same idea that we have inside. I'm not liking the thickness here. I'd like it to be a little thicker, so I'm just going to grab these faces and just pull it up ever so slightly. Let's grab these side faces here, pull those in ever so slightly. I'm just going to do the same up top here too. So we do want to exaggerate that thickness, and like I said, when we do smooth this, it will lose some of that thickness as well. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good, because obviously we do have the space now between this and this point. At some point, if we do want to adjust that, we can do, but I think that's looking okay. Okay, so we can think about the trim now inside down here, because we have the kind of same story with what's going on. It does look like we do want to take this in a little bit, because it looks like where it is just now is where we want it to actually fall. So I'm going to hit Control E, I'm going to go on the world, and I'm just going to pull this in. And at this point here, it doesn't really matter. We can straighten that off a little bit. Take that in there, because we aren't going to see it. It goes behind. But with that being said, let's just tidy this up maybe. Okay. So down here we have two vents within there. We could do the exact same technique that we did earlier. We could grab all of these, because we know these are, I hope these are roughly in the right spot. So let's grab all of these, and then we're just going to do the same. We might as well whilst we're here. Because we know that the thickness of the kind of shroud that we're adding here is the same, so I'm going to hit Control E, and on that blue arrow we're going to pull up. Okay, so for the most part it's looking okay. Let's just tidy that up a little bit, grab the vertices inside here, Maya does have a problem when it comes to extruding corners. So again, we're just going to pull these into position here so that they're sitting good, sitting nice. We want them to be roughly the same size the whole way around. Let's go again down here too. What we could actually do is let's actually hold down V. Snap that up there. And let's just hit edit, mesh and merge. Bring those two together. I don't think we need that extra piece there. And again, we're just tidying up the vertices here. So we've got that nice same all the way around. Let's grab these two lower faces actually, and let's reverse those normals, and then we'll do the same down here. It seems to have found mostly the correct ones. I'm just going to hit G on those ones there to reverse those. Remember G is the previous tool that we used. Let's grab all of those new faces and let's go to edit mesh, and we'll extract those two just like we did above. And then same rules apply. Let's grab all of these. Let's hit Control E. And I'm going to do that on the world. We'll bring these in. And again, we'll just straighten those off. We'll take them in because we're not going to see behind them. And then we'll just do the exact same here as well. Take that in, straighten them off a little bit, and pull those back. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit of the trim here. We're not going to be fussed too much just now about the inside of those, but what we can do is we can start to get some differentiation here. So inside hyper shade, just ignore my pasted colours there, they're for the wheels that I imported into place just here. I'm just going to create a new Lambert, and for this Lambert, let's darken them down a little bit. I'm just going to select and just assign the material to those. And that just means that we're starting to get a little bit more depth to the model now. We can start to see some of the trim pieces going inside there, which is quite nice. So it's looking good. Let's have a think now. We could do some more trim pieces. We could do inside the hood here. We do have obviously a vent inside there. Where else? We've got the window trim pieces. On this car they're quite significant, the actual trim that we have. We also have the rear lights that we'll think about. Let's go for the side windows. That's probably going to be the easiest next step. So it looks like they're going to have a trim. It looks like they're pillarless doors. So there's only going to be an ever so slight trim down this segment here, but there is quite a significant black trim that runs all the way around here. So let's work on that first. So let's just double click and grab all these edges here. Let's hit Control E. And I think hopefully, maybe not, let's go world and let's extrude in. Do something like that for now. Let's check our side view. So we're going to be able to see the trim quite significantly on our side view here. So let's start putting some points. Let's try and get our crease here on the inside of that window. So let's just pull all these, something like that. Looks like we're going to want to get another line across there, which we'll work on in a second. So all those edges prior to the extrusion, I'm going to get on the outside of the line here. Okay, something like that. It's quite hard when you're working on such a low resolution image here. So I'll pull those down just a little bit. That will allow us now to kind of manipulate the actual trim. Now I don't think the trim is as large as this blueprint is saying. The reason for that is because it's so pixelated. So I'm just going to go maybe about halfway. And with these edges here, we want to flow with each of the lines quite nicely. Yeah, that's looking okay. Let's add a edge loop in here. We go just about halfway. That will allow us then to kind of just help us curve aspects of this window a little bit nicer, both front, side and back. Let's check our top view, see if there's anything else we can do with this. And then just final look in our perspective, just to make sure we're looking good, which I think we are. Okay, so we've got that trim coming in, so let's grab all of those faces there, and we'll go to Edit Mesh and Extract. I am going to go back to our original, and I'm going to grab the edges again of the body. I'm going to hit Ctrl E, and I'm going to, on the world, I'm just going to pull in on the X here. So if I come inside, we can see, I'm just going to pull this in, so that we've got a nice little lip on the actual metal section as well. Because what's going to happen is when this does curve off, that's going to curve in the way, and then this one here will curve, so it'll make kind of like a W shape, which will be quite nice and realistic. Obviously where the metal goes in and the trim comes around. That's looking pretty good. And then on our trim here, let's do the same. I'm going to grab the edges, but I'm going to grab the edges of both sides. I'm going to hit Ctrl E, and we'll bring those into probably roughly about the same distance. And the reason we want to do that is because we don't want this top side to curve in, for example, and then the trim itself just curve around the edge, because you could get light passing through or anything like that. So we'll bring those in to kind of match what we have there. Let's just check our front view real quick. It looks like we've got a weird little kick, well at least I have, in the window here. So let's just grab both of these, and we're just going to try and make that a little bit smoother of a transition around there. That would look a little bit weird. What we could also do whilst we're here is we could also add a line down here, because it doesn't look like we've put anything in there yet. And then we also want a line to match on our new trim here. Doesn't look like it's going to do anything, doesn't look like we actually need it. Maybe on the side here, on the top even. Let's go for our vertices, let's grab all of these. We can maybe pull just in a little bit, just give a bit more to that kind of windscreen curvature too. Alright guys, I think we're looking good then for today. So we fixed the nasty geometry at the back, started to work on some of the trim at the front. I think in the next episode what we'll do is let's maybe work on the trim at the back here. So we can start working around in that rear section. We'll maybe do the trim around the front, and the back as well, fill in the windows and start to get more kind of a robust structure here. Alright guys, so as usual, if you like the video, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for the rest of the series, and I will see you in the next one.